Sylvia Plath and Ted Hughes moved to the countryside to find their Eden, and in it, some of their best, most well-known works came to fruition. This was a space where Plath brought her collection Ariel to life, and Hughes observed her writing and the ultimate demise of their marriage. In Ariel's Gift, Ted Hughes, Sylvia Plath, and the Story of Birthday Letters, writer Wagner argues that Birthday Letters is a direct correlation of Sylvia's works at the time, both often drawing on similar imagery and in turn almost having a conversation in subtext of their works. Hughes's poem Daffodils is evocative in its wording and its imagery. He notes that it was Plath's last April, and one that for a small moment was pure and represented a small reprieve in the marriage that was ultimately doomed. In the letter that Sylvia wrote to her mother that April, she writes that there are a literal sea of several thousand or more. When Hughes writes about them, he talks about them in an almost intimate way, as if he is plucking a memory and reminiscing about it with the shadow of a person past. He says, "Remember how we picked daffodils? Nobody else remembers, but I remember. The flowers are golden and fragile against the harsh English landscape." This again represents the harsh and transient life of their marriage together. Hughes again uses the imagery of the daffodil to describe Plath in a picture that he had taken of her. Perfect light in your face lights it up, like a daffodil. He sees Plath in a rather elusive light. She works in the darkness of her words, but for moments comes forth, fragile and bright, like a memory of who she used to be, or even who she could have been. Wagner notes that in Hughes's writing, he himself had noted that after that April spring, the ghost of Plath's father had returned. Plath wrote a scathing poem called Elm at the table that Hughes had built for her out of old elm wood. This poem draws on her past fears of her father. That kill, that kill, that kill. Wagner also states that Hughes, in his reply to her journals, that it is with a heavy irony that he made her a table that would last a lifetime, made out of a plank of wood that was intended for coffin timber. It drew out her words, but also drew out her dead father's ghost. This almost parallels in the poems The Rabbit Catcher and Rabbit Catcher, both in highlighting how fast Plath was fading and how little there was for Hughes to be able to save her light. Hughes sees Plath tear up traps set to catch rabbits. Wagner notes that it was as if the ferocious face of her daddy was inside her. Hughes follows her, unable to stop her and perhaps unwilling. When they look upon the same thing, they see differently. You saw baby-eyed strangled innocence. I saw sacred ancient custom. Plath replies, as it was their fashion, with an equally scathing line. You were weeping with a rage that cared nothing for rabbits. Hughes writes, and continued to write, as if the pain that lies within the bones of his ex-wife are still inside him, and their children. This pain, which is so easily conjured, can live on in just his words. The ghost of Sylvia, her torment, and her father haunted Hughes until his death, just like his work reflects.